Well, this movie definitely made me want to migrate away from the movie theater. Illumination's newest film, Migration. If you can't tell, yes, I am filming outside because I thought it would match nicely with the aspect of the film. Also, the wall behind me makes a really nice blue screen, so works out. So, Illumination is kinda hit and miss. They've had some really good films like the Despicable Me movies and Super Mario Brothers just earlier this year, but they've also had some pretty bad ones. I think the first Sing isn't very good, the Secret Life of Pets movies are terrible, and Hop is, well, the only Easter Bunny movie we've ever gotten, and it's pretty damn bad. If I want to watch a movie featuring the Easter Bunny, I will stick with Rise of the Guardians, thank you very much. But now we have this movie, and let me be honest right off the bat, I don't have a ton to say about this movie. And here's why. Because it's just like Trolls Band Together. And I don't mean that it's very similar in style or plot or anything like that. It's because it's just harmless. It's bad, but it's harmless. Just like Trolls Band Together. So, if you've seen the trailer, you know the plot. It's a family of ducks migrating from their pond to... They decide to go on an adventure and migrate to Jamaica. I don't know if Jamaica was specifically said in the trailers, but that's far beyond the point. Now, the biggest problem with this movie is the biggest problem with any bad comedy, and that it's just not funny. There's a few jokes that did get a laugh out of me, most of them out of Uncle Dan, who is the guy in the family who does not give a shit about what you think, what you say, or what you do. He does not give a shit. And I really like those kinds of characters, because they're usually the funniest ones. That's something I liked about Kano in the Mortal Kombat movie, which was also really bad. But he was my favorite character because he said whatever he wanted and didn't give a shit what other people thought. And those are usually the funniest characters because those are the characters with no holds barred. They don't have to worry about how other people are going to react or how the audience is going to react. They'll say whatever they want, and I like that. The rest of the family is not very funny. The dad got a couple of laughs, but overall he's just really obnoxious. And I can't blame the voice actor because he's giving the performance he was directed to give, and he's saying the dialogue he was given. And the directing and dialogue in this movie is obviously the weakest part. And something else that annoyed me about this movie is that they added a villain. This should have been like a National Lampoon's Vacation movie. You know, if you haven't seen those, it's just it's a bunch of movies of just a family going on vacation and shit going wrong. And honestly, that's very similar to the Diary from a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. But even that shitty movie had a villain in it, and it was pretty bad. Unlike the book, where they just happened to keep running into these people, it became a point where the people were actively following them and stealing their shit. God, that movie's so bad. I already did a full video on that years ago, so I'm gonna move on. And again, this movie is hard to talk about because there's not much to talk about. The animation looks pretty good, which is Illumination. Even with small budgets, they have made some really good-looking films. Now, the Despicable Me and Minions movies don't need to be these grand sweeping epics. The backgrounds normally just need to be passable. They just need to be there for something to destroy or something to be in the background. Then you have something like Super Mario Brothers, which had amazing backgrounds and landscapes, and hell, The Grinch did too. Which, again, I rewatched The Grinch. I did a whole Diamonds in the Rough video for that one, and I rewatched it for Christmas, and it wasn't as good as I remember, but it was still okay. But the landscapes and the cinematography and everything looked fantastic in that movie. And I will say, it looks pretty good here. I'd say, the backgrounds, the shot composition, which is where there aren't actually shots, because it's all animated, but you know what I mean. The cinematography, the grand sweeping shots of the landscapes, it all looks very nice. I just wish there was a good script to back it up. Because a lot of this movie is just the family fucking around. And it wouldn't be, and again, that would be fine. It's just like I said, like a National Lampoon's movie, if it was funny. But it's not. And again, they add all these other characters who show up. Like, for some reason, Awkwafina's in this. I don't understand how she is in fucking everything now. She was fine in Jumanji, fine being the key word, and she was fine in Shang-Chi, mostly because those movies had good scripts. But every other movie I've seen her in, she annoys the fuck out of me, especially Little Mermaid. Do I need to bring up the what was it, Scuttlebutt, whatever the fuck that shitty rap number was in that movie. Do I even need to bring that up? I did a whole video on the soundtrack, and that was the main point of contention for me, which is why I did that video in the first place. I'm getting off topic again. But I'd say probably the best part of this movie was watching Awkwafina's character get run over by a bus several times, and then by a scooter. So that was entertaining, I guess, but that's really the only entertainment value I got out of this movie. And again, the villain is just a chef who wants to cook the ducks. And for some reason, like, after the flood, they find another bunch of ducks, who I guess they're like, either doing a yoga session or a birthing class. Like, they said, egg, like, I'm pretty sure it was yoga, but then it was like, okay, now egg position, where they kind of did that where they would lay an egg. I'm like, is this a birthing class? What the hell is going on? But either way, they of course get captured by the chef, and so do the parents and everything, and they have to break out. The climax is really dumb. It doesn't make a ton of sense. It's not very engaging, and that's the perfect way to describe this movie in a nutshell. It's not a horrendous trash fire of a movie that, like, angered me to my core. Like, I kind of assumed it would be. Like, I didn't think it would anger me, but I thought it would just be obnoxious, because they put some of the worst jokes in the trailer. Like, the joke of the little kid not being able to go to the bathroom while flying like birds do, and them having this long conversation, and then them stopping so the kid can go to the bathroom. Why is that funny? That was a big part of the trailer. So that was in, like, every trailer. And at the end of the trailer, where they usually save the best joke for, they put in probably the worst joke in the entire movie. So, yay for that. Oh my god. I'm having trouble thinking. I guess the characters are fine. The dad's just the overprotective father who doesn't want to go anywhere, and then, of course, agrees to go on the migration. I already talked about Uncle Dan. He's the best character in the movie by far. The mother is Elizabeth Banks, so that's already a knock against her. But she's fine. Again, these characters remind me a lot of, like I said, the Bear of Wimpy Kid family, just -1. Where it's you got the parents, the father who's freaking out over everything, although that's more like the animated movie counterpart than the books, but I digress. The mother is just like Susan Heffley. The teenage kid is kind of a combination between Greg and Roderick. And then the little kid is Manny, essentially, except way less annoying, way less psychotic, and I guess a bit more likable. Because, again, like, the kids are surprisingly the most likable characters in the movie, again, besides Uncle Dan. Because they're not annoying. Like, the one scene where the kid can't go to the bathroom while flying, that was pretty annoying. But other than that, the characters were mostly likable. And I like how the kids actually participated in the climax. Like, actually them saving their parents. Like, I liked that a bit more than where I thought they were going with it. Also, they come across a parrot, I want to say. I'm assuming it's a parrot. Like, one that was actually in Jamaica that they start traveling with about halfway through the movie. Side note, they spend way too long in the city, because all these other landscapes they pass are really cool. There's so much you can do with a movie like this, traveling cross-country. There's so much cool imagery you can get, but they spend half the movie in a generic city. But they start traveling with a parrot. He's pretty funny. I do like him. He's, one of the more likable characters in the movie. But, again, my problem with this movie, and why this review is kind of short, is because this is just a nothing movie. I probably won't think about this again. I sure as hell won't watch it ever again. And it was just a waste of an hour and a half. Like, I took nothing from this movie. No lesson was taken. Nothing that really stuck out as like, you know what, that was really good. I'm glad I saw this movie for that reason alone. Because I've had movies like that. I've had movies that I didn't like, but there was one cool thing in it, or one nice scene, or something that I took from the movie that I'm like, you know what, that was worth seeing. Like, take Disney's A Christmas Carol, the one with Jim Carrey, for example. It's not a very good movie, but it had a lot of cool imagery. It had some really cool additions to the story that I'm like, you know what, I'm glad I saw this. I probably won't watch this ever again, but you know what? I'm glad I saw it for that specific reason alone, and there just wasn't anything like that here. This was just an hour and a half staring blankly at a bunch of unfunny ducks flying around. That's just... Let's just say this is kind of a disappointing way to wrap up the year, but this isn't the last one, trust me. I've still got Rebel Moon, I've still got maybe Wonka, maybe The Iron Claw, it just depends, because I want to get my top 10, or top 15 best and worst of the year out pretty soon, so we'll just see how many movies I have time for. Today I'm having at least one more review, maybe two, depending on my schedule, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. So yeah, that's all I got for Migration, unfortunately, because I was padding this video out a little bit, but I got nothing else to say. I'm giving this a D. Don't watch it. So yeah, that's all I got for Migration. I'll see you next time. Bye.